Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasuli Nabi al-Kareem. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. The first thing I was asked is if I would take one of these questions. And so I'm going to ask one of these. I guess these are questions that the students are sending in. We're recording for Tuesdays with Tabari. So, how do I know if my intentions are pure? And how do I gain sincerity in everything I do? It is easy for me to tell myself, yeah, I'm going to work only for the sake of Allah. But if I stop getting my paycheck, I will probably stop showing up. This is a very good question. This person is thinking deeply about this, right? This is a very good question. So it's about ikhlas, like being sincere with Allah. First and foremost, you need Allah's help to be sincere with Him. All right? Whoever thinks that they could just wake up today and be sincere without the help of Allah, you won't be able to do it. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself used to say, Rabbi akhlisni biwajhika al-kareem. Make me utterly sincere for your sake. Akhlisni biwajhika al-kareem. That's what he used to say. This is the first thing you have to do. You have to call on Allah to help you be sincere. This is the first thing. All right? The second thing is, whatever that thing is that you decide to be sincere about, you have to check your intention every day. So if you wake up this morning and you say, for Allah's sake, I am going to interact with people in a good way, just for Allah's sake. And there was a companion that was like that. There was a companion of Rasulullah Islam who his only defining, his major defining characteristic was that when he went to bed at night, he would give as charity any harm that anyone did to him. He would just let it go, right? Like if a Muslim harms me, Ya Allah, write it off for them. I'm not holding it. I don't want forgiveness. I forgive them. It's no problem. It's sadaqah, right? So if someone decides to do that, every day they have to renew that intention. So at the beginning of the day, they have to say, okay, today I'm going to do this lillah, for Allah. Right? I'm going to do this purely for Allah, meaning I only expect my reward from Allah. This is really what you're saying. I'm going to do something, I only want my reward from Allah. Lastly, at night, you have to take a moment, even if it's just a minute, and you have to do muhasabah. You have to look at your day, and you have to say, how well did I keep my intention at the beginning of the day? That's what you have to do. Those three things. Dua, akhlasni biwajhika al-kareem, ya Allah. Help me to be sincere for your sake. Number two, make your intention. Make a firm intention. All right? And number three, at the end of the day, review your actions against the intention. That's what you have to do. All right? And this is directly from, transmission from one of my, from even, one of my shuyukh, he taught us this. All right? This is how you do it. All right? It's difficult. It's difficult. And that's why we need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help. All right. So I was just thinking about this today. I was thinking about this community here at UCLA. And I was thinking about how your community here is very similar to the community of Medina. When Rasulullah first went to Yathrib, when he went to Medina. What do I mean by that? The relationship was not based on tribe anymore. All of you come from different backgrounds. Some of you are Afghan, some of you are Bangladesh, from Bangladesh, some of you are from Palestine, some of you are from Egypt, some of you are from, right? You're from all over. We're from all over. That's how Medina was going to end up. People were coming from everywhere. By that time, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you don't hear much about them, but by that time, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had 40 companions, 40 that were from, right, Ethiopia. 40 at that time. All right, they had entered into Islam in Mecca, and they began to migrate, with Rasulullah to Medina, but we don't know their names. Right? We don't know their name. We know Bilal ibn al-Rabah. MashaAllah, we know Bilal. But there was more than that. And there were verses in the Quran that were revealed about these 40 companions of Rasulullah that migrated from Abyssinia. And so this community is like that. And so, there's issues that I like when I'm reading the questions that you all have. Some of them are in reality, it's about how do we be a community? So one person says this, another person says that. Then I go read the literature. The literature says this. I'm confused. What do we do? So we need principles. We need principles on building community. We need principles. All right. When Rasulullah ﷺ first entered into Medina, all right. When he first enters into Medina, this is the advice that he gave. We're talking about as he's entering, he's on the camel and he's speaking to the people. And it's called the Hadith of Salaam because it's the Jewish rabbi. He was a Jewish rabbi who wanted to come and see this man who was saying that he was a prophet of God. Because, they have a long tradition of prophets. They know the signs and they're looking for the signs. So Abdullah ibn Salam, he's a Jewish rabbi in Medina. He comes, he looks at Rasulullah and he says, this is not the face of a liar. He knew, just by looking at the face of Rasulullah, he knew this man is truthful. He became Muslim. Just by looking at Rasulullah, he became Muslim. So he's one of the famous rabbis of Medina who became Muslim early on. His name is Abdullah ibn Salam. The hadith begins with salam and it ends with salam. That's why, so the narrator's name is Abdullah ibn Salam. It begins with spread peace and then it ends with peace. We'll go over it. So as Rasulullah ﷺ is entering into Medina, right? He doesn't have a house or anything yet. The first thing that he tells the people, Afshu salam, spread peace. Spread peace. This is the first thing he tells the people. Spread peace. Now, don't make the mistake of thinking that he's only saying, say salamu alaikum. Because if you say salamu alaikum, but then you turn around and talk about that person that you gave salam to behind their back, that's not spreading peace. That's spreading enmity. He's saying spread peace. When you extend your hand or if you say salam, you got to mean it. Because salam is the removal of harm. When you say salamu alaikum, I don't want any harm to come to you, even from myself. And that's another reason. In another hadith, Rasulullah says the Muslim is one. He protects other Muslims from his tongue and his hand. That's the Muslim. All right? So when Rasulullah is saying spread peace, it's a comprehensive peace. All right? So just think about this. If you can just perfect that, if you can perfect your character when you interact with people, how much, where would we be as a community? Where would we be? If we could when we interact with people, we don't show ourselves, right? This is good character. Good character is two things. Good character with Allah is that you deal with Allah without the creation. When you pray to Allah, you don't think about the creation, what they think about you, what they're doing about you. You don't give any eye, any ear, any thought to the creation. It's between you and Allah. When you deal with His creation, you remove yourself. You remove your lower self. Right? That's what you do. That is good character. So yourself, your anger, your lust, your envy, your jealousy, you set that aside when you're dealing with the person. That's good character. This is what Rasulullah ﷺ is indicating here. This is what he's indicating. Spread peace in a comprehensive way. This is the first thing. This is what you all have to do here. You have to sincerely want peace for your brothers and your sisters. Sincerely. You have to want peace for them. Right? We don't want to put everybody in a box, and if they don't conform to these rules and they don't understand this part of the deen and they don't follow the scholars I follow, that's not it. Remember, Rasulullah ﷺ is coming into Medina. Very few people there are Muslim. There's about 80 Muslims in all of Medina at this time. So the vast majority of people that he's speaking to are not Muslim. This hadith starts off with, Ayyuhan nas, oh people. He didn't say, oh Muslimun, ya Muslimun. He didn't say that. He said, Ayyuhan nas. He's speaking to whether you're Muslim or not. So we know that these are general principles. General. The first and foremost, you're talking about starting a community? Spread peace. You have to have good character with people. Don't look at their states. Don't look at their speech. Don't look at their practice of deen. Don't look at none of that. Just remove all judgment and just be able to honestly say, Salaam alaikum. May peace be upon you. Harm is not going to come to you from me. This is the beginning. Right? Sometimes we want to start off with other things. We want to put everybody in a box. Oh, they're practicing. Oh, they're not practicing. Oh, they look like this. They talk like this. Oh, they don't. Forget that. You're going to divide the community. There's going to be hatred in the community. You're going to make people, they don't want to come to the MSA. They don't want to come to where the Muslims are. They want to come, right? No. Right? We don't want to make this a bubble. You have to pass all of these criteria before you can come to the MSA. That's not it, man. It's not it. All right? Spread peace, first thing. The second thing, he said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, just give out food, right? Feed food. وَتُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامِ. Feed food. Remember, he's speaking to a mostly non-Muslim congregation. Mostly non-Muslim. He's telling Muslims who are in the congregation and non-Muslims, man, just feed people food, man. Just give people food. Why? Because homelessness, food insecurity, clothing insecurity is a human problem. And you can't tell people to go and pray and they don't have food and clothing and shelter. You can't. Because praying is actualizing your spirituality. You're not going to have any spirituality if your biology is not taken care of. So Rasulullah ﷺ is going straight to the point. Man, take care of people's insecurities. Feed food. And in those days, when they would feed you food, you would come to the house, right? And they would inquire about your needs. How are you? Who are you? What can I do for you? They were serious about the brotherhood and the sisterhood that they were setting up. All right? So that's why Rasulullah ﷺ said that. And then the next one, keep the family ties. Wasillu arham. You can be whoever you want to be in front of us, but your family knows you. Your family, they know you, and you know your family. You know sometimes there's discrepancies in the way, like when we go to the masjid, we're all, Salaamu alaikum, yes, mashallah. But at home, we're tyrants. Straight up, out of pocket. Straight up. The family knows you. So how you deal with your family is the real measure of who you are. That's the real measure. Especially the way you deal with your women folk. The way you deal with your women folk, that's the measure. Rasulullah ﷺ heard that some of the men were hitting their women. He got on the minbar and he was like, only the worst of you will do that. The worst of you will do that. And the best of you are those who are best to their women folk. That's the measure. So when you're talking about keeping the family ties, it's not just saying, oh, I call them once a week. No, it's when you deal with them gently. You deal with them, and this is according to Urf, right? It's according to Urf, like what is customary, what they're used to. Like in my family, I joke and laugh and play around, you know what I mean? I'll make fun of them, but it's not to harm them. They know where I'm coming from. I might not be able to do that with somebody else's family. So what is the customary practice in your family? And then you go along with that, right? Like in Morocco, every time they come in the house, right, they kiss the mother on the forehead. It's like this is a customary practice. Amongst Americans, it's not a customary practice. I don't know what it is in India or Pakistan or Egypt or, you know what I mean? There's certain customary practices. So when you deal with your family, you look at the customary practices and say, okay, this is what they're used to. This would be considered good manners with my family. And that is what Rasulullah SAW is talking about. All right? And then lastly, he tells us, number four, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. He tells you, pray at night. Pray at night. Right? The wisdom of this is your spirituality is going to be ineffective if it doesn't show up outside. And true spirituality is that which you do by yourself. I mean, we get rewards for praying together. But the true measure of a person's spirituality, what do they do when they're by themselves? Do they get up for tahajjud? Have you ever met someone who wakes up for tahajjud every night and doesn't do the 5 daily prayers? If they're waking up at night, they're doing the 5 daily prayers. If this is a habit to wake up at night, they're doing the 5 daily prayers. And so Rasulullah SAW is saying, okay, pray at night. When people are asleep, pray. That's when you pray. That's the true cultivation of real spirituality. All right? It's not to be, what I called last week, performative piety. Performative. Right? When we're around other Muslims, we're like super Muslim. But when we by ourselves, nah, man, something else going on. Right? Something else going on. We put on a show. We're putting on a show when we're outside. But when we're by ourselves, no deen. No, we're not worried about it. All right? Like Allah doesn't see. And so Rasulullah SAW put that forward. He put that number 4. So the first principles are in community, y'all. It's in community. It's outward. It's dealing with people, spreading peace, having good character with them. It's not just saying Salaam alaikum, it's actually having good character. Feeding them food. Number 2, it really means give people what they need. They might not need food, they might need clothes. They might not need clothes, they might need, shelter. Right? They might need transportation. Whatever they need, take care of that. All right? And then number 5, he tells you, if you can do these things, this is what you'll get. Udkhulu jannata bis-salam. It begins with afshu salam. This is how it begins. It begins in the end, right? Tadkhulu jannah bis-salam. You will enter Jannah in a state of peace. And it's narrated by Abdullah ibn Salam. That's why it's called the Hadith of Salam. These are your principles. And I'll be harping on this, right? I'll be harping on this because, I'm realizing that we need like a structured way of building community. Building community when we're diverse like this. Everybody has different backgrounds. Everybody has different understandings. How do you build a community like that out of that? You have to have these principles that you work with. All right? After this is what Rasulullah SAW told the people to do. But then what did he do? Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He started an allyship with some of the surrounding tribes. Right? Just to facilitate their entering into Islam. Do we have any allyships with people who... Okay, let me just ask you a question. Who do you think are closest in America to becoming Muslim? Who? The groups of people in America. In America, who are those groups of people that if we had an allyship with them, like many of them, they're already interested in Islam. They have family members that are Muslim. There's notable figures in society that have accepted Islam. What are those groups? Don't be afraid. Take a guess.
Incarcerated people?
Yes, absolutely. And the vast majority of incarcerated people are who?
Black?
Absolutely. African Americans. Right? African Americans. At the top of the list. Right? Since the 1930s in this country, the largest group of people who were entering into Islam were African Americans. They may be Christian or whatever, but they know that Islam is part of the African experience. They know that. Right? They know that. And if they don't know, they can find out real quick. Just open up a book and just see how many Muslims are there in Africa. And it's like, oh yeah, the vast majority of people in Africa are Muslim. You can find out real quick. All right? After the African Americans, I'm starting to see it now. What's the next group? What's the next group?
Hispanic.
The Latinos. He's right. They're becoming Muslim like crazy. I gave one shahada in Irvine like 2 weeks ago. Right? It's like they're coming in. The way the African Americans were coming in the 60s and 70s, the Latinos are coming in. Go somewhere like Dallas or Houston. They're pouring into Islam. They're pouring in. We need allyships with them on campus. Allyships. Begin to invite them. Invite them to the talks. Right? Invite them to come. Find out who's the largest group. Find out what their interests are. Unite with them. If they're going out to feed the poor, send some MSA with them to feed the poor. Right? It's gonna happen spontaneously. They're gonna be like, what are y'all about? What do you believe? What's this? What's that? They're gonna become Muslim. Are there any Latinos in here now? MashaAllah. See? Look. Right? All right? That's what I'm saying. Okay? I'm seeing it. My good friend. Anybody heard of Islam in Spanish? Who's heard of it? Islam in Spanish. This is my friend, Mujahid Fletcher, Muslim guy in Houston. They're doing so much work to help Latinos come into Islam. They're printing their own Qur'ans in Spanish. They have like outreach programs to go to South America, Central America. They have their own center right there in Houston, right? Where, like one khutbah is in Spanish, the other one is in English. And people are just coming to them. People are coming to them. We did a program together in Houston. That's how I know. It's happening. All right? They're coming in. Civic engagement. All right? Civic engagement. This is something that Rasulullah SAW did. If you remember, when Rasulullah SAW went to Medina, one of the things that happened with his companions, they started to get sick. And they hated Medina. They wanted to get out of there. Rasulullah SAW, he led a campaign to do away with the spread of, number one, rabies. This is where all those hadith come about like not eating behind dogs. If a dog eats out of a bowl, you have to wash it 7 times. That was a public health campaign. So that people who are coming from Mecca, which is very arid, it's very, very dry, mountainous, and they're going into Yathrib, which is, it's moist and humid. And people get sick when they change into drastic environments. They get sick. The companions of Rasulullah SAW started to get sick. Bilal ibn Rabah was like, Ya Rasulullah, man, this place is terrible. Like, we hate this place, right? So Rasulullah SAW started teaching them, things to improve their health. But not just for them, the Muslims and the non-Muslims. How are we civically engaging with the non-Muslims in our environment? Listen, the time for living in a bubble is over. It's over. It will not work. We have to come out of the bubble. We have to let people know that this is a universal message, right? So we have to begin to establish ties with, different groups of people, right? We have to let them know. And that's what Rasulullah SAW was doing. And this was happening at a time when there wasn't that many Muslims in Medina. Right? Rasulullah SAW migrated when only 80 people had converted. This was a whole city of people. 80 people? What's that? Right? What's that? There was nothing. And even by the time of the first battle, there was only like 313 men that participated in the battle. There were some who were sick, they stayed behind, but it wasn't that many. It took time before it became tens of thousands of Muslims in Medina. But he was working and he was helping the people, all right? Racial harmony, y'all. Racial harmony. This is something that Rasulullah was serious about. He was serious about it. Bilal ibn Rabah, who is Abyssinian, he's from Ethiopia. Abu Dar al-Ghifari was having a conversation with some men, and they were correcting him about something. And so Bilal joined the conversation. Like, yeah, you wrong, for real, right? And so he says to Bilal, he says, even you, oh son of a black woman, that's like the N-word. I mean, there's a different context, but it's like the N-word because you're saying you're nothing in this society because you're a descendant from an Ethiopian. That's really what you're saying. It's like somebody saying to you, if somebody calls you the N-word, really what they're saying is you ain't nothing. Why are you here? Why are you talking? Right? So he says this to Bilal, and Bilal was hurt. He went right to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Say, Ya Rasulullah, man, this dude said this to me, man. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was angry with Abu Dar. He was angry with him. And he basically told him, you are someone that still has the traces of Jahiliyyah in you. Ignorance. Jahiliyyah, the days of ignorance when they would walk around the Kaaba naked and all of those things. Like, you're still holding on to these practices, to these beliefs? You call yourself a Muslim? Actually, you're filled with ignorance. So Abu Dar al-Ghifari, one of the greatest companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he went to Bilal because now he wants to remove this from his heart. He wants to get this out of his heart. He wants to remove this ignorance. He goes to Bilal, he puts his head on the floor. He says, I will not move it until you place your foot on my head. And that's so that he can remove this feeling of superiority. And we live in America, y'all. This is how it is here. Right? This country was founded on racism. Don't think that if it's in the air, you're not going to catch it. You can easily catch it. You can very easily catch these attitudes of, if you're not like all American and you don't look like this and you don't talk like this and that, oh, ana khayrun mink, I am better than you. Right? We do that sometimes too. All right? So we have to be very careful about that. Racial harmony. No one on campus should feel isolated. No one on campus should feel like I'm not welcome. No one should feel like that. And then lastly, respecting the women. Respect the women, man. Y'all gotta respect the women, right? And the ladies too. Ladies have to respect the other women too, right? There is no ummah without It's from the women that you get the children to build the community. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was the first supporter of this deen? The very first supporter. I heard it over here. Khadija radiallahu anha. It was Khadija radiallahu anha. That's who he ran back to. When he was bewildered by the encounter on the mountain, he's bewildered by that, he runs back to Khadija radiallahu anha. And she's the one that convinces him, like, no, you feed the poor. You feed food. You protect the rights of the orphans. You keep family ties. No way is a jinn going to descend upon you. That was from her. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, this Islam was spread by the wealth of Khadija. There's like you know how we mention, when we talk about the adhan, like when you think of the adhan, who do you go back to? Like this, he was the original mu'adhin. Who do you go back to? Bilal ibn Rabah, right? That's who we go back to. When you're thinking about building a community, you have to go back to the women. You must. Because the first supporter of this deen was a woman. And she gave all of it, all of her wealth for Allah's sake. When they pushed the Muslims into the ghettos of Mecca for like 2 or 3 years, she spent all of her money. And then until even her health began to fail, and that's how she passed away. She spent all of her money on the poor, right? And when that ran out and her health began to fail, then she passed away from that. She gave it all. And then later on, even though we know who was after Khadija radiallahu anha, who was like his most beloved wife, one day she insults Khadija radiallahu anha. She says something about, oh, you still care about this toothless old hag? Right? Because she was older than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She was older, right? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went in on her. He went in. He was like, she supported me when there was nobody. She's the only one that had my kids. Like he went in like this. And Aisha said, I never after that said anything about her. Never. Like I knew her place and I knew mine. So I just wanted to lay down some principles. As you guys are thinking about, I'm not here every day, you know what I mean? I can't be here every day, but I just want to give y'all some principles of when you're thinking about, okay, how can we do better? How can we have a good community? These are some principles that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he started, like this is how he built Medina. Medina was not all Muslim when he came. That had to be built. And there were problems. There were problems between men and women. There were problems between the different tribes, like the Quraysh and the Ansar. They stood off before, just like the Crips and the Bloods, same. They just, they bucked up against each other like, wait, hold up. Who you think you talking to? No, who you think you talking to? Like, we will bury you out here. Y'all visitors from up there. It happened. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to interfere. So it will happen. There'll be those times where it gets heated, but you got to think in large terms. You got to think in terms of, how do we establish this community? And I want you to think about something else, and I'll get off the mic after this. Everybody in this room, sooner or later, is going to be gone. You're going to graduate, and you're going to be gone. I just want you to think about your legacy here. Did you teach one person about Islam? Did you help the MSA to give out food? Right? Like, what's going to be your calling? Or are you one of the ones that stirs up mischief? You're one of the ones that, you can only find the faults of people. Oh, they're not dressed like this. They talk like this. They just, right? Like, what's your legacy going to be when you leave here? Because there's going to be more Muslims that come, right? When you leave, what's your legacy going to be? I just want you to give that some thought. Try to do something to put something in place here that everybody benefits from. It will come to your credit until the day of judgment. It will come to your credit. That's what I want you to think about. Try to establish something that will go on and on and on, right? No matter what, whether you're here or not. It's like a sadaqah jariyah. It just keeps going, keeps multiplying. You'll be in your grave and it's still coming to you, right? You maybe have your family or something, contribute something to the MSA. Buy a couch. Buy a couch for the MSA. I think they need one. I think they need a new one. Right? Buy a couch. Every time somebody sits there, it goes to your credit. Right? Bring something that people need. It's something simple. But be thinking about that in community, making it work.